The ocean was silent, then ruptured with violence, as if nature itself was tearing apart its own skin. The mother whale surged upward, her massive body shivering with urgency, while the newborn clung to her shadow. Clara, the guide of instinct, whispered through memory, "Breathe before the storm takes your breath away." Lightning shattered the horizon, slicing the sea into fragments of blinding light and endless black. The calf exhaled a trembling cry, too soft to be heard above the thunder, yet heavy enough to carve grief into the air. Jonas, the survivor, said, "Every breath is stolen from death, and death is always waiting." A predator's fin cut the surface like a blade, distant but advancing, while the storm's roar made it impossible to tell where danger truly lived. The sky cracked open again, spraying shards of rain across their skin. The calf trembled, his small frame fragile against the monstrous sea. Clara said, "The ocean does not hate you, it simply does not care if you live." The waves rose higher, curling like fists, striking at the mother's flank with merciless rhythm. Jonas pulled her close with his body, shielding what little he could, though each strike threatened to split his will apart. The calf gasped, lungs still learning the art of survival, while the world demanded he master it in an instant. Above, seabirds screamed warnings, circling like omens. The shadow of the predator drew closer, almost hidden by the frenzy of the waves, as though chaos itself had given it camouflage. Clara whispered again, "Survival begins in shock. It is the first test and the cruelest." The ocean heaved upward one final time, lifting them into a mountain of water, before collapsing with bone-breaking fury. For a moment, the calf disappeared beneath the froth. Jonas roared, his cry both desperate and commanding, cutting through the storm like a blade of grief. The calf surfaced, coughing bubbles, fragile but still alive. Jonas pressed against him, eyes wild, as if begging fate itself for another breath. Lightning struck again, and in that brief white fire, the predator's full shape was revealed, massive, relentless, inevitable. The storm did not relent. Each breath felt stolen, each moment fragile. Jonas pressed against the calf, urging him forward, whispering strength through the rhythm of his body. Clara said, "The ocean does not gift time, it steals it." The predator's silhouette faded into the surge, yet its presence remained carved into every shadow. The calf's small gasps echoed louder in Jonas' mind than the thunder itself. Waves battered them from every direction, tearing apart the illusion of safe passage. Seabirds still circled, their cries sounding like fractured warnings. Jonas fought the water with scars already deepened by older battles, his muscles shuddering under strain. He said, "Survival is not strength, it is refusal to let go." The calf's innocence made the storm's cruelty unbearable, each tremble a reminder of fragility. Clara's voice carried, "The storm is not your enemy, but it will not wait for you." The horizon glowed faintly with lightning, showing no end to the violence. The calf coughed water, desperate lungs straining against the storm. Jonas curved his body to shield him, but each movement carried the weight of exhaustion. Lightning flared, cutting across the sea with blinding fury. Clara said, "Every storm reveals who listens and who drowns." Jonas' mind echoed with every scar, each one a map of struggle carved into his skin. The predator's fin surfaced again, closer now, riding the chaos with ruthless patience. Jonas whispered, "Fear sharpens the will to live." The calf's innocence trembled beside him, as if the ocean itself was trying to erase his fragile presence. Thunder rolled louder, pressing down on every sound of resistance. Jonas pushed harder, body aching. But the waves struck like hammer blows. Still, the calf clung to him, refusing to let the storm take him whole. The ocean rose again, higher than before, a wall of black water. Jonas braced his body against it, muscles tearing under invisible strain. The calf's wide eyes reflected pure terror, as if the sea had become a living beast. Clara whispered, "The first breath teaches life, the storm teaches cost." The wave broke with merciless weight, tossing both into the depths. Silence rushed in, bubbles bursting like screams under the surface. Jonas twisted, searching, lungs burning, then caught sight of the calf spinning helplessly. He pushed forward, body cutting against the pull, refusing the darkness' demand. The calf surfaced again, gasping, clinging to life with sheer instinct. Jonas pressed him upward, while the predator circled closer, always waiting for weakness. The storm's roar became endless, swallowing every cry, every desperate exhale. Jonas lifted the calf to the surface again, forcing him toward air. The predator's shadow drew closer, circling with patience, feeding off fear. Clara's voice cut through the chaos. The first test is never the last. It only sharpens the blade. Jonas gasped as thunder split the horizon again, illuminating scars across his body. The calf trembled but exhaled another thin cry, proof of life in the maw of death. Jonas pressed harder, defiance radiating from every exhausted motion. He said, "I will not give him to the storm. I will not give him to you." The predator surfaced briefly, eyes unblinking, promise of violence clear. The ocean gave no comfort, only a battlefield where survival was fleeting. The storm faded into a restless hush, leaving the ocean scarred with foam and shadow. Jonas guided the calf through calmer waters, his body trembling but determined. Clara said, "The true fight is not against the storm, it is against despair." The calf swam close, wide-eyed and unsteady, each movement clumsy but alive. Jonas pressed against him, whispering through silence, "Stay with me. I will not let you drift away." The ocean carried the weight of silence after violence, as though testing their resolve with emptiness. Overhead, clouds broke in fragments, revealing fractured stars. The calf exhaled a fragile plume of mist, his breath shimmering in faint moonlight. Clara's voice lingered. "Fragility is what binds the living to each other. It makes their survival worth more." Jonas's scars glistened under the thin light, each mark a story of battles endured, each wound proof that survival is written in pain. The calf gazed at him, innocence reflecting both fear and trust. Jonas curved his body protectively, teaching him through instinct, guiding him through motion. Dawn crept slowly across the horizon, painting the ocean with fragile gold. The calf lifted his head toward the glow, his small frame trembling with effort. Jonas steadied him, guiding his rhythm with slow, powerful strokes. Clara said, "The sun does not erase the night. It only teaches you to endure until light arrives." Seabirds returned, skimming the surface, their cries softer now, no longer omens but echoes of survival. The calf exhaled a plume that caught the sun like fire, fragile beauty rising from exhaustion. Jonas whispered, "Your breath carries more weight than my scars. It is the future written in air." The water shimmered with warmth, though its depths still held shadows. The calf pressed closer to Jonas, his body finding strength in the larger frame beside him. Clara murmured, "The anchor of love is what holds the fragile against the current." Jonas curved his body around the calf, shielding him not from waves, but from the fear of being small. The day grew brighter, yet the calf faltered, struggling with the rhythm of the waves. Jonas slowed his pace, pressing his flank against the trembling body. Clara said, "Strength is not measured in speed, but in the refusal to leave another behind." Jonas' scars pulsed with ache, but he ignored them, his focus fixed on the calf's survival. The calf's breath was uneven, but each exhale shimmered with determination. Jonas whispered, "Do not give up. The ocean will not wait, but I will." The water rippled around them, the sound of life after storm. Above, gulls wheeled lazily, no longer frantic, as though acknowledging fragile endurance. Clara's voice lingered. "The bond between them becomes the story. Without it, nothing matters." Jonas adjusted his path, angling toward calmer currents, teaching through movement what no words could hold. The calf mirrored him, clumsy but learning, the spark of life growing brighter against despair. Jonas led the calf toward deeper waters where silence grew heavier. The calf hesitated, his small body shivering at the endless dark beneath. Jonas curved back toward him, eyes steady, guiding him forward. Clara said, "Fear does not vanish, it must be carried." The calf's gaze widened at shadows in the deep, Yet he followed, each movement an act of fragile courage. Jonas whispered, "You are not alone. My strength will carry you where your breath cannot." The water below glowed faintly with shifting currents, as though alive with hidden voices. The calf exhaled, mist trembling, but did not turn away. Clara's voice lingered. The emotional anchor is not chosen. It is given by love and born through sacrifice. Jonas pressed against the calf once more, his scars brushing the young skin, leaving silent lessons etched into touch. The ocean stretched vast, eternal, indifferent, yet for them, survival became a promise. The sun reached its height, casting a harsh white blaze across the ocean. Jonas moved slowly now, his muscles trembling, yet his body remained unbroken. The calf swam beside him, clumsy strokes, steadier than before. Clara said, "Endurance is not beauty. It is survival made visible." The calf turned to Jonas, his innocence softened by trust, his breath rising in stronger plumes. Jonas whispered, "Every moment you live is victory carved into water." The waves shimmered like glass, betraying the violence of the night before. Seabirds vanished, silence lingering above, as though the world paused to watch. Clara's voice lingered. The bond between them has become the anchor, the thread holding the fragile against the void. Jonas curved protectively once more, scars glinting under the merciless sun, as though to remind the calf that survival is never without cost. Yet in that moment, the ocean held them both afloat, fragile but unbroken. The calm did not last. Dark currents stirred beneath, rising like unseen hands ready to drag them down. Jonas sensed the shift first, his scars prickling with memory of old battles. The calf swam beside him, eager, unaware of the danger crawling closer in silence. Clara said, "Nature does not forgive those who believe peace is permanent." The predator's fin returned, slicing through the distance like a relentless shadow. Jonas whispered, "Stay near me. Do not wander from my side." The calf's innocent eyes flickered with fear as the sea grew heavy with tension. The air thickened, pressing down with the weight of a storm not yet born. Overhead, gulls scattered in frantic patterns, their cries cutting the silence. Clara murmured, "Conflict is never a stranger, it is always waiting at the edges." Jonas curved his body, placing himself between the calf and the approaching shadow. The ocean no longer shimmered with promise. It had sharpened into a battlefield. The predator advanced, its fin breaking the surface with deliberate patience, closer now, a hunter shaped by hunger. The calf trembled, his breath shallow, each exhale scattering like fragile smoke. Jonas said, "Do not look away from me. Fear will steal your strength." The water churned darker, the horizon narrowing into shadow. Clara whispered, "The enemy is not cruel. It is inevitable." Jonas surged forward, drawing the calf into his slipstream, trying to outpace the relentless fin behind them. The calf pressed close, every stroke clumsy yet desperate. Above, clouds swallowed the fading sun, turning the sky to iron. The predator's shadow stretched beneath, massive, patient, waiting for a single mistake. Jonas gritted against exhaustion, muscles burning, but his body carved through the water like a barrier of defiance. Clara said, "Conflict is not choice, it is survival sharpened by need." The ocean erupted as the predator lunged, jaws breaking the surface in a violent surge of spray. Jonas twisted sharply, forcing his massive body between the calf and the threat. Water exploded around them, each droplet gleaming like shards of glass. The calf cried out with a weak high exhale, clinging to the rhythm of survival. Jonas roared through the sea, his voice carried like thunder beneath the waves. Clara said, "Every heartbeat is tested when danger bares its teeth." The predator circled back, relentless, jaws snapping shut just short of flesh. Jonas struck with his tail, a desperate arc of power that shattered the water's calm. The calf shivered, eyes wide with terror, yet followed, pressed against Jonas' side. Clara whispered, "Conflict grows teeth when innocence stirs fear." The ocean boiled, predator circling again, ready for another strike. Jonas braced, every scar burning like memory brought to life. The chase began, brutal and endless, predator driving them through waves with merciless hunger. Jonas forced the calf forward, his own body taking the brunt of each surge. The calf's breath faltered, thin plumes trembling with exhaustion. Jonas said, "Do not stop, the sea will not wait for you to recover." The predator surged again, fins slicing close, water hissing with its momentum. Clara murmured, "Conflict is not fair, it is a weight that crushes the weakest first." Jonas swung his body wide, blocking, tail striking foam in defiance. The calf stumbled in rhythm, but pressed on, every stroke small but vital. Overhead, clouds cracked open, rain falling in sudden sheets, the sky echoing the chaos below. Jonas pressed through it, his scars splitting the stormlight, body trembling with fatigue yet refusing collapse. Clara whispered, "The storm of conflict is endless. Endurance is the only shield." Darkness swallowed the horizon, predator circling once more, relentless, unstoppable. Jonas slowed, body trembling, yet his eyes blazed with refusal. The calf clung to him, small strokes faltering, but desperate to continue. Jonas whispered, "If I fall, you must still breathe, life must not end here." Clara said, "Conflict carves sacrifice from the strong and tests the innocent with despair." The predator's form loomed larger now, jaws flashing through the foam, a specter of hunger made flesh. Jonas surged forward again, a roar rumbling deep, every scar burning like fire under the storm's weight. The calf's cry pierced through the rain, a thin sound against the chaos, yet heavy with meaning. Jonas pressed onward, heart pounding like drums, refusing to surrender. Clara's voice lingered. Conflict is the crucible where hope either breaks or burns brighter. The sea roared with them, merciless, endless, demanding their strength without promise of mercy. The predator circled again, but hesitation rippled through its movements. Jonas braced for another strike, scars tense, yet the creature slowed as though bound by unseen grief. Clara whispered, "What you fear may carry its own burden." The calf pressed close, trembling, eyes fixed on the looming shadow. Jonas said, "Do not mistake mercy for weakness. It hides truths we cannot see." Lightning cracked the horizon, and in its flare the predator's side revealed deep wounds, jagged scars carved into flesh by other battles. Clara murmured, "Every hunter carries its own story, and not all are written in triumph." The calf's innocence softened into awe, as though sensing kinship in survival's pain. Jonas turned his body, his rage tempered by recognition. This enemy was also a survivor, scarred by the same merciless sea. The predator veered away, circling slower, its massive body gliding with effort. Jonas studied the wounds etched into its flank, deep gashes that spoke of battles far harsher than their own. Clara said, "The truth is not always the enemy. It may be the mirror of your own struggle." The calf tilted his head, innocence shifting into silent wonder. Jonas whispered, "Pain writes across every life in this ocean. It spares no one." The predator did not strike but swam parallel, its eyes dull with fatigue rather than hunger. The ocean carried silence heavier than thunder, as though holding its breath at the revelation. Clara murmured, "What you thought was shadow may only be another survivor fighting to endure." Jonas curved protectively still, but his heart slowed, tempered by reluctant empathy. The calf swam closer to Jonas, pressing against his side, but his gaze lingered on the predator. Jonas said, "Not all dangers wear the shape we expect." Clara whispered, "The hidden truth shifts the weight of fear into something deeper." The predator broke the surface with a heavy breath, exhaling mist that dissolved quickly in the rain. Its wounds glistened red against the water, marking it not as untouchable, but as fragile. The calf exhaled, his small plume drifting like a question into the storm. Jonas's scars ached with memory, understanding that survival carves all creatures, not just his kin. Clara murmured, "Even the relentless carry scars. This is the revelation that humbles the strong." The horizon flashed with lightning, not of violence but of recognition. The predator slowed further, its path faltering, as though surrendering to exhaustion. Jonas moved forward cautiously, still guarding the calf, but his eyes softened with reluctant understanding. Clara said, "The hidden truth is that survival binds hunter and hunted alike." The calf swam in rhythm, innocence glowing with trust in his protector, yet curiosity shimmering in his gaze toward the predator. Jonas whispered, "Pain has no enemy. It is shared by all who breathe." Rain softened, the storm easing into a hush, as though the world itself recognized the shift. The predator dipped beneath the waves, its shadow retreating with a weary grace. Clara murmured, "What once was enemy becomes reminder. The ocean spares no heart." Silence returned, heavy and profound. Jonas swam slowly, calf pressed against him, both bodies trembling but alive. Clara said, "The truth revealed is that survival is not conquest. It is endurance shared across all lives." The calf exhaled a stronger plume, his innocence tempered by understanding that even shadows carry wounds. Jonas whispered, "What we fear is not always our end. Sometimes it is the mirror of our struggle." The predator was gone, yet its scars lingered in memory, shaping the rhythm of their journey. The ocean stretched wide, eternal, indifferent, yet less cruel in the light of revelation. Clara murmured, "The hidden truth reshapes the path forward, it deepens the weight of survival." Jonas curved protectively around the calf, their bond strengthened not by victory, but by shared recognition of the ocean's harsh law. The sea erupted again, darker and more violent than before, as if the ocean itself rose to claim them. Jonas forced the calf forward, every muscle trembling with defiance. Clara whispered, "The final test does not arrive with warning, it arrives with fury." The calf gasped, his small breaths colliding with the roar of waves. Jonas said, "Breathe, no matter the weight. Breathe and live." From the depths, another predator surged upward, larger and hungrier, jaws snapping through spray. The calf cried out, fear piercing the storm like a fragile arrow. Jonas struck the sea with his tail, each movement a desperate wall of power. Clara murmured, "The climax is not survival. It is the raw struggle to endure." Lightning revealed the predator in full, relentless and unbroken, forcing Jonas to face the storm of flesh and water, with every scar burning. The predator lunged again, teeth flashing like blades, jaws snapping just short of Jonas' flank. Jonas twisted, slamming his body into the current, shielding the calf. Clara said, "The fight demands blood, whether spilled or spared." The calf pressed desperately close, his innocence carved with terror, but his body moved with stubborn rhythm. Jonas roared, a thunderous cry that split the ocean, declaring resistance against the inevitable. The predator circled, relentless, water boiling in its wake. Jonas whispered, "You will not have him. I will not surrender him to you." The sea cracked with violence, rain pelting down like shards of glass, sky and ocean fused into one furious battlefield. Clara murmured, "The climax is carved from defiance even when hope collapses." The predator struck with merciless speed, driving Jonas downward into the depths. The calf spun helplessly above, his cry lost in the roar of bubbles. Jonas twisted, body battered, but his scars burned with memory of survival. Clara said, "The climax rips apart the body to measure the will." Jonas lashed his tail, striking the predator's side with a brutal force, forcing it back in a surge of crimson spray. The calf's small frame trembled, but he pushed water with fragile courage, refusing to flee. Jonas whispered, "Stay with me. Do not let the sea take you." The predator reeled, but its hunger only deepened, circling tighter, jaws snapping through darkness. Clara murmured, "Survival is not triumph, it is struggle sharpened to its breaking point." Jonas surged upward, dragging air into his lungs with a roar, the calf gasping beside him. The predator followed, its shadow stretching upward like death itself. Jonas pressed the calf higher, shielding him with his body, refusing to falter. Clara whispered, "Sacrifice is the sharpest edge of survival." Lightning split the sky, revealing scars old and new across Jonas' flank. The calf exhaled a desperate cry, clinging to life with innocence hardened by terror. Jonas whispered, "If my body breaks, let my strength live in you." The predator lunged again, jaws snapping, spray exploding across the horizon. Clara murmured, "The climax demands a price, and love offers itself first." Jonas braced, every scar blazing like fire, ready to bear the weight. The predator charged one final time, the ocean shuddering with its force. Jonas roared, surging forward with every fragment of strength, colliding in a brutal clash of flesh and fury. The calf cried out, spinning through waves, innocence breaking against chaos. Clara said, "The climax is the moment where breath itself becomes the weapon." Jonas struck again, tail ripping through water, forcing the predator back in a thunder of violence. Blood clouded the sea, mingling with storm and shadow. Jonas whispered, "Go on, live, even if I do not." The calf pressed against him, trembling but alive, his mist plume small but fierce against the storm. Clara murmured, "Survival's heartbeat is sacrifice carved into silence." The predator sank back into the dark, not defeated but delayed, while Jonas floated scarred and broken yet unyielding. The storm began to ease, its roar fading into weary silence, leaving behind a battlefield of broken waves. Jonas floated, body scarred and heavy, but his eyes burned with defiance. The calf clung to him, trembling but alive, mist plume rising thin yet steady. Clara whispered, "The resolution is not peace. It is the truth made inevitable." Blood drifted in the water, red ribbons unraveling into the endless sea. Jonas said, "I have given everything, but still he breathes, and that is enough." The predator's shadow was gone, yet its presence lingered like a wound carved into memory. The sky broke open with fragile light, the first rays slipping through shattered clouds. The calf's breath caught the glow, shimmering like fragile gold against dark water. Clara murmured, "The storm has ended, but its echo remains in every scar." The ocean grew calm, but calm did not mean safe. Jonas drifted, his body slowing, each movement labored as if the sea pulled at his soul. The calf pressed close, innocence carved now with resilience, his breath stronger than before. Clara said, "The outcome is not mercy. It is the weight of inevitability." Jonas whispered, "I may not last, but you must." The silence above carried no birds, only the faint hum of eternity. The calf's gaze lingered on Jonas, eyes wide with trust, unaware of the sacrifice surrounding him. Clara murmured, "The resolution binds loss with survival. One cannot exist without the other." The sea shimmered faintly under clearing skies, holding both love and grief in its vastness. Jonas slowed further, scars bleeding into the current, his strength fading with every breath. The calf swam close, pressing against him, eyes wide with fear. Jonas said, "Do not stop. My body may fail, but your breath must carry forward." Clara whispered, "The resolution is not kind. It only completes the circle." The ocean held stillness heavy with inevitability, its silence sharper than the storm. The calf exhaled a strong plume, proof of life shaped by sacrifice. Jonas' eyes closed briefly, then opened again, weary but unbroken in spirit. Clara murmured, "Love endures even when flesh does not. It becomes legacy written in the water." The sky cleared further, sunlight piercing the surface, illuminating scars like holy scripture. Jonas drifted slower, each motion a shadow of strength once unbreakable. The calf swam alongside, clumsy strokes steadier now, innocence reshaped into resilience. Jonas whispered, "You carry me in every breath you take." Clara said, "The resolution does not erase, the scars remain to remind." The predator was gone, but the ocean itself remained the greatest adversary, endless and absolute. The calf exhaled a confident mist, his plume glowing in sunlight as though declaring life against the void. Jonas' eyes softened, weary but proud, as though seeing hope survive beyond him. Clara murmured, "Survival is not triumph, it is continuity born of sacrifice." The day grew bright, waves shimmering with calm, yet the weight of loss lingered in silence. Jonas slowed almost to stillness, but the calf pressed forward, his small body cutting the water with fragile determination. Clara whispered, "The resolution completes what the opening shock began. A circle closed by survival." Jonas said, "Live beyond me, and the storm will not have won." The ocean stretched infinite, holding both memory and promise, its silence a witness to sacrifice. The calf exhaled one last plume, stronger than before, rising into sunlight like a fragile crown. Jonas closed his eyes, scars glinting under light, body surrendering to the sea's inevitability. Clara murmured, "The resolution leaves you breathless, knowing survival always demands a cost." The sea had calmed, its endless surface glistening beneath the sharp light of morning. Jonas drifted, still and silent, his scars glowing faintly under the sun. The calf swam close, innocence reshaped into resilience, every stroke carrying fragile determination. Clara whispered, "The echo begins not in the storm's roar, but in the silence that follows." Seabirds circled distantly, no longer warning but bearing witness. The calf exhaled a plume of mist, its shape bold against the horizon. Jonas' body, heavy with sacrifice, floated near, an unspoken monument. Clara murmured, "The echo lingers because love cannot be drowned. It endures even in absence." The calf pressed close to Jonas, nudging gently, seeking movement that would not come. His small eyes widened with grief, but his body did not stop swimming. Jonas had given his final strength, and now the ocean carried him as memory. Clara said, "The echo pierces not with noise but with absence." The calf exhaled, plume breaking the air with a cry too fragile for the vast horizon. Sunlight struck the mist, scattering it like fragments of shattered hope. Clara whispered, "The echo is sharp because it is simple. It reminds us what is lost." The calf turned slowly, his small body trembling, yet his strokes carried him forward. He swam toward open waters, leaving behind a silent weight of sacrifice. Clara murmured, "The echo is survival itself, the cry of the one who remains." The sea stretched eternal, shimmering under the noon sun, each ripple carrying fragments of memory. The calf exhaled again, mist brighter, louder, as though declaring life in defiance of grief. Jonas drifted behind, scars dissolving into distance, his love carried in the calf's breath. Clara said, "The echo lingers because life insists, even in the shadow of loss." The calf's movements grew steadier, fragile innocence reshaped into fragile strength. His body cut through the water with rhythm taught by sacrifice. Clara whispered, "The echo is continuity, the lesson carried forward." Sunlight painted the waves with shimmering silver, as though the ocean itself honored the fallen. The calf glanced back once, his wide eyes reflecting both grief and resolve. Jonas floated far behind now, a scarred silhouette against the horizon. Clara murmured, "What endures is not flesh, but the will passed from one life to the next." The horizon stretched endless, swallowing the last line of Jonas' body, leaving only the calf moving forward. Clara whispered, "The echo is not silence, it is the cry that remains." The calf rose for air, exhaling a plume of mist, sharp and unforgettable, a crown of survival against the sky. The sea was vast, indifferent, eternal, yet that single cry carved itself into eternity. Clara murmured, "The echo lingers because it is final, it ensures we cannot forget." The ocean swallowed the sound, but the silence left behind was heavy, haunting, eternal.